Thank you, thank you. All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our 5,467th meeting of the Oakland Rotary Club. I'm Tom Limon, president of the Rotary Club, founded in 1908. We are the third oldest club in the world, with more than 36,000 Rotary clubs worldwide in over 200 countries. Our club represents a diverse membership of 280 business, professional, and community leaders united to serve our local and international communities through a commitment to service above self. I'd like to welcome our friends on Zoom. I see CJ, Pam, Deep, Merlin, Ed. Welcome everybody. And Ed's not in the ballroom right now, but do we have any visiting Rotarians from other clubs? If you are, please stand up. Okay, we don't. Okay, we would like, if you are a guest or a guest online, if you could please stand up, we'd like to know who's in the room. Fred Morse.
Oh, hi, President Tom. I have two guests and I don't know where they are. Let's see, Chris Moore, who's running for something in Oakland. What is it? Supervisor. Yes, thank you.
Chris Morris.
And then, and then also Warren Logan. Oh, there you are. God, I'm so glad you guys aren't sitting with me. That's great. Anyway, Warren's running for two things.
All right.
Jackie, you're standing up. And the Democratic Central Committee, I think. Okay.
Good job, Fred.
Okay, welcome. Welcome.
How snappy is this guy dressed today?
He's looking sharp.
Incredible. Yeah. Oh, look at you. Now I have the microphone. President Tom, fellow Rotarians, I have the most important guest to ever have attended an Oakland Rotary Club. His mother is so upset with him that she refused to sit with him and pawned him off on me. The youngest of Shannon Hackley's two boys, Jack Leal.
All right, welcome, Jack and Jack. Oh, Ruth.
President Tom, fellow Rotarians, it's an honor and privilege to introduce to you Odalis Ordonez. She is the new owner of the Ordonez Agency, the former Ruth Straub Insurance Agency, and she has an application pending.
All right.
Congratulations, that's a big deal.
Welcome, welcome. Gary Flaxman.
Hi, President Tom. Thank you. I am very, very honored to let everyone know that this is also a new member to be Bobby Arte. He runs a wellness company. Tom was involved with the ADUs and the two of them met a couple of years back. So very, very excited about our new member.
All right, welcome, welcome, Bobby. And Bobby has an application in too, so thank you. Christine, no, Christy. Oh, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Christy Johnson Limon, Economic and Community Development, and today my guest is my fellow coworker at the Office of Business Development, Eric Simutsa.
All right, welcome, welcome.
Christy, do you want to also introduce Julie Fully? No, because she's way too far away. I don't even know where she is.
All right, and also please stand, Jamie. This is Jamie Flaherty Evans, and you're with Chromata and a commercial real estate broker. Yes, awesome. I got it. Yay!
Right.
Welcome. Warm welcome.
Welcome. And Jamie also has an application, and so welcome, Jamie.
Fantastic.
Yep, Jason.
Christina Mena, City National. She's a longtime visitor and hopefully an applicant very soon. She is a business relationship manager, and boy, can she manage her relationships with business. Fantastic.
And she's our club's banker, so welcome, Christina. Okay, Dr. Joel Parrott, would
Hold
you?
on.
Oh, wait, oh, sorry, David. Oh,
President Tom, I got a guest here, Courtney Miller. He's an architect, so we're trying to get him to join. I just need some help bringing him over the finish line here.
all right. Come join us, Courtney. All right, Dr. Joel Parrott, would you kindly share your thought for the day?
Thank you, President Tom.
So as part of mindfulness on Martin Luther King Day, I would let, this is an opportunity to reflect on kindness. We are naturally kind. Even in our lowest moments, our inner kindness can give us strength. Take 5 minutes to remember episodes of kindness and generosity you've witnessed or experienced. Even something small, like giving a smile to someone who needed it. By keeping those episodes in your mental wallet, you can always access them as a reminder that both you and the world are full of kindness and generosity. And so I'll leave you with some John Prine lyrics from a song. So if you're walking down the street sometime and spot some hollow ancient eyes, please don't just pass them by and stare as if you didn't care. Say hello in there. Hello. So now President Tom has given me the chance to roll into, put on my landscaper's hat. Okay, and it is Martin Luther King Day, so as we call, as I want to call on all the Rotary environmentalists in the room that to help us with Oakland urban forestry. And so you see that tree on the screen? Can anybody guess what tree that is? Coastal live oak, correct. How long do you think that tree lives in its lifespan? 250 years. So if, when we plant on Monday, the plant you put in the ground may be a legacy that may last 250 years. And so with that, on Monday, we are partnering with Tree Services of the City of Oakland and Trees for Oakland to plant nearly 150 oak trees along Skyline Boulevard, which will make it more fire safe. Each time each tree will have the potential for a 250-year legacy for the environment and for Oakland's quality of life. There will be future opportunities, so if you can't make it, don't fret too much, because hopefully, I'd like to hopefully get to where we Oakland number 3 does 2 tree plantings a year. But so there it is. So on Monday, 9 a.m. at the intersection of Skyline Boulevard and Brandy Rock Way, bring a shovel and gloves, and you can contact me right after the meeting, or you can email me, and we would love to have you. I think it's a great environmental project for Oakland number 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Joel. Thank you, Dr. Joel. And also Greg Annis is working with some of our interactors on this project. And, Dr. Parrott has worked really hard. He's been trying to make this happen, and it's kind of like wrangling a lot of horses, right? Just to make this happen, but you're doing it. So thank you. So we've had some recent losses and last week I mentioned George Constantopoulos. We also had Carl Anderson late last year, and we recently lost someone in our district, Sesh Ramaswamy. And some of you may know him as Sangeeta's husband, but he was a past president in Saratoga, and he was also a co-chair of our district conference this year, so he will be deeply missed. George deserved a strong send-off from our club, and we only had a handful of people there to really send him off, as a beloved Rotarian or past Rotarian. So one change we are going to make is we're going to work closely with the We Care Committee, and that's what the We Care Committee is established to do, is to help in these situations. And so as soon as we learn of a passing, we will notify the club right away. And then as soon as the services are finalized, we'll also send a follow-up email a couple of days before, so we can have a strong showing. But I think as Rotarians, we deserve that. And, I feel bad that we weren't able to support George and send him off the way he deserved to. Today, on a happier note, we have the distinct privilege of inducting a new member. to our Oakland Rotary Club, and it's Kathleen Uribe. And Shannon Hackley will introduce our newest member and share 2 interesting facts.
Thank you, Tom. Hello, everybody. Can we do that again? All right. It's always the best day of the year to invite new people to join this incredible tribe. Kathleen actually found us and she wandered in after visiting another Rotary club that she didn't want to join, and she walked in here and went, yeah. So there we go. Wendy Howard's not here today, but Wendy and I are co-sponsoring Kathleen Uribe. Uribe. What I love about Kathleen is her email address says she's wishing health, abundance, and wisdom. 2 interesting facts. 1, she loves to go on 50-mile bike rides and bike camping. My friends, my bike friends. And her birthday recently was on New Year's Eve. Please welcome Kathleen Uribe. She's in the finance business. Kathleen.
We could grab a quick photo. Okay, David Kristen. All right, here we go. All right. So Kathleen, so here's your new red badge, and
Wonderful. Thank you.
that designates your status as a new member of our club. And you'll be receiving a bag of goodies that includes the 4-way test, which guides Rotarians in their daily lives as follows. So we haven't said this enough, so if you could help me out. So with the first one, is it the truth? Help me out. It's to all concerned. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? So these are good words to live by. And you'll be receiving our Rotary Made Easy handbook, which provides useful information about our club and our club directory, and also includes the contact information for 280 of your newest friends. Also included is your Rotary pin, and with this pin, you can go to any club around the world and they'll treat you very well. And so that's a fun thing to do. You'll also receive our Centennial book that documents our club's history over the past 100 years, and that was written by our own Linda Hamilton. And your commitment as a new member is to attend meetings, participate in 1 or more committees, practice service above self, and contribute to both the Rotary Foundation and Oakland Rotary Endowment. And so it is my distinct pleasure and privilege to induct you as our newest member to our club. So let's give her another, well. Thank you. Okay, so next week, we will not meet in the ballroom. Okay, let me repeat that. We will not be in the ballroom next week. We will be touring the Paramount Theater at 3:30 p.m. So it's kind of short notice. It was a little hard to coordinate it initially. But we're gonna have a docent-led tour, and I will have we'll also get information about some of the programs like the ballet and the symphony, and we'll hear a little bit more about what's planned for this year. So it should be a lot of fun. And following the tour, we will have our very first drinks with the president. I know I've already been in this position for 6 months, and this is our first drinks with the president. And if you know me, I like a drink. So, or 2. So immediately following the Paramount tour, we will be at Calabash, which is a few blocks from the Paramount Theater. It's basically across the street from the Caltrans building near West Grand. And we have a small area reserved, like a lounge area reserved for us. So I don't like drinking alone, as Christy, I don't like drinking alone, right? Okay. So please join me. We'll have a good time. Okay. All right. This Saturday is the Dr. Martin Luther King tribute concert featuring the music of Stevie Wonder. So there have already been over 40 tickets sold for this concert directly through the agency. And I think we'll have some more. So you have to follow instructions to get the discount. The instructions on the back of the table flyer, but that's 25% all tickets. And a handful of Rotarians will be meeting at MUA at 5 p.m. if you'd like to join us for appetizers and a drink or 2. So if you haven't purchased tickets, please do that. It should be a really great concert. So Trisha Connors, would you please join me and share what's coming up?
Thank you, President Tom. I'm here to remind you all about this year's gala. It's Spring into Service, and it will be held on Thursday, March 21st at Scott's Seafood in Jack London Square. And there is more good news. This year, instead of receiving phone calls and solicitations separately for the ORE campaign, which is always this time of year and culminates at the gala, and then separately for the gala sponsorship and contributions, you're going to be receiving one phone call. We have 20 Rotarians who have volunteered to make calls for these two campaigns. So one call, two campaigns, and we're very excited about that. Now for the gala, what can you do? You can sponsor. We have the very, I think, clever sponsorship levels. We have head chef for $25,000. We have the maitre d' level for $10,000, sous chef for $5,000, or you can be a host for $2,500 or a server for $1,000. Those are the sponsorship levels, but there are way more ways to get involved. You can join our committee. We need help. It's a huge undertaking to run this event. And you can donate auction items. This year, we're really trying to focus on experiences. In particular, we're looking for cabins, rental properties in exotic or not exotic locations. All of us like to get away. Airline tickets, sports events, maybe some Warriors tickets if they ever improve. But anyway, please let us know. Carrie Hamill, Teresa Wayan, and I are chairing this event this year. So please let us know how you want to get involved. Thank you.
All right, so Trisha's gonna help me out. Thank you, Trisha. So we promised a free lunch for this second semester. If you paid your dues or you signed up for monthly, what do you call it? Monthly payments. What is it? Auto payments. Okay, there we go. For our membership fees. So we have all of the people, they're in this envelope, and Trisha Connors will blindly select our winner for the next 6 months. So Julie, no more free lunches for you, I think.
I hope I'm in here.
All right, who is it?
John Holmgren.
All right. Never. Well, maybe that'll inspire him to be here more often. All right. So since I have this hat, I think someone's birthday was just a couple days ago, this ugly birthday hat. Dudley Thompson, where are you? And as Dudley's coming up, I will share, we have a fun Lunar New Year party coming up on February 22nd. It's an fabulous 8-course meal. Happy birthday. All right. And don't keep it. We need that back. All right. So we have an 8-course meal. It's $85 and it's at Peony in downtown 8th and Franklin. And we have a very special guest coming, and that's the Honorable Fiona Ma. So please sign up. You can go on Eventbrite and look for that. And also be sure to like us on Facebook, check out our social media. We're trying to get that more activated. And we're gonna have a monthly fellowship moment right now. But before I introduce past President Seth Butner to lead it, I wanted to remind everyone what our DE committee is trying to accomplish. From surveys and experiences difficult for members, particularly new members, to feel welcomed and included. So if we could pull up a slide, Peter. So Rotary International has listened carefully to clubs around the world, and they've created the following DEI code of conduct. This is on the Rotary International website. And I firmly believe we are doing a pretty good job in all these categories. So I don't think we have a lot to do here. But there are some places where we could be better. And one of those that we've identified, and this is sort of how our DEI committee is focused on, is making everyone, whether you're a guest, a speaker, a long-term member, a new member, to feel welcomed and included in our club. We have a big club, and it's easy to just not feel noticed or welcomed. So that's really, when we talk about DEI, that's what we're talking about. And these other things as well. And I think we're doing a fine job at not, not addressing these, because we don't need to. It's really about creating this environment of strong community. So one of the ways we're doing that are these monthly fellowship moments. It's called Beyond the Handshake. Next slide, please. Which Seth Butner will lead us on today.
Thank you, President Tom. The DEI committee really created the fellowship moment. It's designed to deepen our connections with each other and understanding of Rotarians and fellow humans. It's an effort to get beyond the handshake, as we always said, and invite us to learn more about one another. So each time we have these DEI fellowship moments, just think of, it's just a way of getting to know one another a little bit better. So today, what we're going to do is please pair up with one other person at your table who you don't already know. Probably know everybody at your table, but you don't know. Or you don't already know well. And take turns telling or asking each other the following question. What activity instantly calms you? Makes you relax? Activity that instantly calms you. You'll have about 2 minutes to discuss it with each other, just one other person at your table. And on the online, we'll match you up. Peter, I think we'll put everybody into rooms where they will be matched up with one another. So, question is, what activity instantly calms you?
Why don't I match you guys?
Everybody, we're back online and we're back in the room. Did you have a good discussion? Yeah. Now, would someone like to share their conversation that they had with the other individual at your table? Can we have somebody say?
I'm getting over to Lady Bird right now. Hold on, everybody.
Good afternoon. Let's see. We have an eclectic mix of things that cause us to be relaxed. I enjoy listening to Latin jazz and jazz in general.
Jazz.
And this one can just do the yoga pose and just kind of, close her eyes, but she also walks in the morning and in the evening, and her dog enjoys this as well. So the dog relaxes.
The dog.
And this one has a unique requirement when she goes to work, which is she has to have her shoes on.
Ah,
So she puts her shoes on, then she's really at work. And then she says she's high energy. So when she comes into her house, just remind herself that I'm at home and it's time to relax.
ah.
And she's looking forward to having these yoga moments in the middle of the day soon. So we try a whole lot of stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? We have one more and then we have to move on. Anybody else like to share?
No.
Our guest.
All right, we had I said, I said Cuban jazz music. I love kind of relaxing to that. And your name?
Odalis.
Odali likes, I think, music as well, but she likes to dance with her little boy, 9-year-old boy, and that relaxes her and lets her kind of relax for the day. I thought that was great.
This is what we do.
No one brought up a bottle of wine, which is weird.
Is that what you said then, Jason?
My mind was different. We'll talk later.
I was speaking with our guest here, and he told me that just simply petting his dog, it calms him instantly with petting his dog. And mine was when I get home, at the end of the day, I'm instantly relaxed. And it doesn't matter if the dog's barking at me or or the wife's yelling at me or anything else like that. I'm really calm because I don't have outside influences for me. I shut off the phone, everything when I get home, and I'm just home. That's what's good for me. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy it.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you everyone for participating, and we'll do another one of these next month. So we are lucky to have Daniel Francis here today with us. I happened to meet Daniel Francis at an event in early December, and it was a holiday event, and we just got to chatting, and I was like, I saw you on TV with Barbara Lee, and you know, we just got to chatting. I said, how would you like to come to Rotary and share what you're working on, because it's so important. And so he was all for it. So I appreciate you, Daniel, being sort of spontaneous and putting you on the spot there, but thank you for making time for us today. So Daniel Francis serves as a vice president of materials at Akash Systems. Akash Systems engineers are the inventors of the Ganon diamond materials. Did I say that right? I probably got it wrong. Ganon diamond materials. Diamond, while known for jewelry, is the world's most thermally conductive material. Akash produces diamond-based electronic devices for satellite radios, high power and energy efficient electronics. Well, actually, you're going to get into this, right? Okay, so Daniel Francis holds a PhD in applied physics from Stanford University. He has co-authored more than 100 papers and over 25 patents. His papers and patents have accumulated over 2,500 citations by other publications. Please give a warm welcome to Daniel Francis.
And do I need to speak on the mic? Yes. This is going to be a little bit tricky because I have a demonstration which I'd like to try to show as we get started. And I will have to speak loudly and hopefully project to the back of the room. Handheld mic, look at that. Okay. Hello, hello. That works. All right, do we have the initial slide up? Or how does it? So Akash Systems, we're a startup company. We are vertically integrated, which means that we go all the way from the materials up into satellite radios. So as our objective is to build radios for communications with satellites. And at our core, what makes us viable as a company is the fact that we are a diamond electronics company. Now, diamond, we're used to thinking of it in terms of jewelry. And Tom, thank you very much, by the way, for introducing me. It was a pleasure meeting you. And I'm very happy to be here. It looks like a great gathering. Closer? Oh, wow. I can hear the echo, and that means that, yes, you can hear me. If you can't hear me in the back, raise one hand. I'll move the mic a little bit closer, and then we'll be able to work with that. Then the question is, why diamond? So all electronics, they cease to function. They fail largely because they get too hot. If you think of a laptop sitting on a laptop computer sitting on your lap, it gets very hot. That heat, it impairs the function of the electronics, but it also will eventually cause it to fail. And now, why diamond? Other than being pretty for jewelry, the reason it's pretty and the reason it's so hard is because it's made out of some very tightly packed atoms. And those small atoms, strongly bonded, leads to making very hard materials and also very thermally conductive. Now, for demonstration, I have a demonstration just showing what does it mean to be thermally conductive. Tom, can you hold this for a split second? Very much. I normally ask for ice, but there's never ice, so I brought some of my own. So your normal materials, if the reason we say ice is solid is because if you take, it's very hard to see, let's take a piece of metal and you tap on it, you see that it's hard. And that what it means is basically that the it's hitting a hard piece and it does nothing. However, if you have a piece of diamond, and hopefully you can see this in the back, this is a piece of diamond. What the diamond will do, and what to be thermally conductive means, is that it will suck the heat out of my hand and deposit that into the ice. So the effect that has is, instead of when you hit it, it just simply clanking off of the ice, is you hit it and it just sinks right into the ice. And then it just stays there. And if you actually wait for a split second, it'll be frozen into the ice because it sucks all the heat out of the ice and eventually freezes again. So that means that it's frozen into the ice. At the same time, since my hand is warm, if I just grab it, wait for a split second, I can take it back out. Sort of the sword and the stone. All right, that's it. We're done for the day. It was a pleasure. See you again. Do we have the slides?
Yep.
Great. And now we'll get into Akash Systems. Again, my name is Daniel Francis. I'm the Vice President of Materials for Akash Systems. I read all of the details a little bit later, and font, I don't have everything at size 40 font, which means that it may be a little bit difficult to see in the back. As I said, we're a vertically integrated company. We're doing diamond electronics, and the idea of the diamond electronics is that you will be able to extract the heat from the electronics. So it's useful for any type of high power electronics. We're the original inventors of this diamond electronic material. There are now lots of groups that are trying to follow what we have done, and we're trying to implement this. And we are putting this into satellites because when you're on Earth and you'd like to cool something down, you can just blow on it, blow air on it, blow cold air, and you can cool it off. In space, given that it's in vacuum, you can't do that. So you have to spread the heat out and then radiate it into space. So the more efficiently you can do that, the better off you are. And that's where the greatest value in diamond electronics is. As we have now been working with this and building radios, and I'll get into those, then we're also moving into other areas. Our objective we're trying to build a fab in Oakland. So I'll get into all these details as we go. Again, Akash Systems, space communications and electronic EVs and for clean energy. Can we get the next slide? I'm going to talk a little bit about Akash Systems, our business, the market, our technology. I've already discussed a little bit, and then the CHIPS plan, and also the support we've already received from the local government. Next slide, please. Ooh, it's hard to read. Just some corporate facts. We're founded in 2017. We have revenues of about 2 to 3 million, about 10 employees. We're venture funded by KOSLA, Founders Funds, and Acme. We've raised a total of $27 million so far. Next slide, please. This is on diamonds. Again, we've been discussing diamonds. The idea with diamonds is diamonds in space as we're trying to spread the heat out, because that's where the greatest advantage of it is. And our developed technology is exactly that, of how to build electronics onto these diamond substrates. Next, please. Oh, let's go back 1 second there. The thermal conductivity of diamond allows us to operate at 6x lower temperature and at 1600 greater power density. It's very hard to read what's there. And the fact that we were able to do this at very high power densities means that when you're building electronics in space, how well you can pack things in, how you can do the power, and also how efficiently you can send information from space back down to Earth is very important. And this ability to reject the heat turns out to be key in terms of trying to build electronics. We'll get to our radios in a second. Next slide, please. These are the substrates themselves. So as we're trying to build electronics, I'm not sure that people are familiar. When you have your silicon chips are built on a substrate. And our starting point is to build these substrate. And these are the diamond substrates there. So the diamonds are 4 inches in diameter. They're about 0.2 of a millimeter thick, and you can build your electronics on those. That's our starting material. We use those to build the electronics, and then build the electronics into different into amplifiers and so on. Next slide, please. This is our first product that we've been selling. It's the satellite radio. This is the radio that we are mounting into, we sell to our customers. Our customers put that into satellites, send it into space. The advantage of this radio is, and again, it's very hard to see. It runs at about 700 megabits per second, which is about 7 times faster than any other radio of comparable size and weight. When we're trying to build things into space, because it's so expensive to send things into space, size, weight, and power, they call it the swap, are the important characteristics. So when you're comparing 2 radios to each other, you have to compare them that are the same size, weight, and power. So other radios that are comparable to ours in size, weight, and power run at, compared to those, we can run at about 7 times the data rate. That's this radio here. And you can see the size of the radio because there's a hand holding the radio there. One thing that I think is quite interesting is this is the radio, and then you can see the size of the satellites, which will come in the next slide. Next slide, please. This is the testing for it to go into space. The next slide. This is the radio. It would attach, so our radio is attached to the side of this. So what you have is, in this next generation of satellites, we're no longer thinking about satellites that are size of school buses. We're talking about satellites that are size of a bread loaf. So you launch the satellite into space, and it has all of its controls and everything in something that's about this big. So our radio bolts onto the side of that, and that's what is used to then communicate between the radios and Earth. We're building in these radios, the next generation GPS, that we'll see in the next one coming in there. All these things, they have to be very small, they have to be very compact, they have to weigh very little, and be able to communicate at efficient ways back to Earth. Let's see, the next slide shows, again, this is for another product of ours. This is not with diamond yet. We're still building it with a different semiconductor. And this one is for the next generation of GPS. We're trying to, as we're trying to improve and be able to have better control and better tracking of where we are on Earth, we're always trying to do better. And this is our radio that we're trying to introduce for that. Next slide. In terms of what of interest to Oakland is the investment in the United States in semiconductors has, it was increasing through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and in the 90s, people started moving away from investing in semiconductors in the United States. And so a lot of the technology moves overseas. And as the technology moves overseas, the innovation can also move overseas. So the CHIPS Act in the United States is meant to try to draw some of that back. And we're trying to take advantage of that to draw it back, not just to the United States, but here into Oakland. So we're looking to build a chip fab. We have currently been making all of our devices by sending that to third-party fabs and having them made in different places. We're trying to do that here in Oakland. We have our materials lab is already existing in West Oakland, and we're trying to raise money through CHIPS Act to be able, from the CHIPS Act, to be able to build a fab right here in Oakland. And in that case, all of this, the diamond electronics that we'd be trying to build, we'd be building them right here. And also other types of electronics for electric vehicles, for clean energy, energy conversion, and that type of thing. So the timeline for this, which is that we're trying to raise money now in the beginning of this year, and then we'd start the break ground for the site over the end of the year, and in the next 2 or 3 years, we'd hopefully have the facility. Because we're vertically integrated, at the materials level, there are very few people. At the device level, you hire more people, and by the time you get to actually building all the building the radios and building all the devices there, then we should hopefully get to about 500 people employed in this endeavor. Next slide, please. These are a couple examples of early adopters. CPI is looking for our radios for communication. They're looking at base, talking to space, And Maxar is out in space reading, sending, looking back down. So these are early customers that we'd be trying to get it. And these are, a lot of it is Earth observation. As the other satellite that I showed is also Earth observation. You can, the more data you're taking, you're trying to get data down, and therefore you'd like to do it as efficiently and as quickly as possible. And that's where the material that we do comes in. I think we're getting close. One more slide. This is for electric vehicles. As you can imagine, electric vehicles, there's a huge amount of power. And as you're trying to drive the drivetrain on the car, you're always converting energy from the battery into the car and then back from the back and forth between the two. Dealing with these very high voltages, there's a lot of power involved. Anytime there's a lot of power, being able to cool it, then having your diamond to be able to extract the heat would be very efficient. And so that's where we're also looking to expand into that particular area. We have been very fortunate, next slide, to get strong government support. In particular, the city of Oakland has opened its arms and has been very, very kind to us. Next slide. While it's difficult to see, Barbara Lee came to our lab a while back in November, December of last year, and Mayor Shang Tao, which is very hard to see right here. We met with Alex Padilla, and they have all been very encouraging and trying to open up, open the arms of Oakland to try to encourage us to really establish our fab here. I think that's it. Thank you very much. Thanks for paying attention. Glad to take questions.
All right, there's a lot of questions, so I'm gonna let you choose.
Let's go, Jack, Cedric, then Trisha.
Jack, Cedric, and Trisha. Thank you for being here today. Could you talk a little bit about what your competition is and what differentiates you?
So the competition in terms of electronics is the previous generation materials, gallium nitride on silicon carbide, which is not quite as good as diamond, and companies that essentially have the existing technology. We're looking for the next generation. So the competition has the advantage of having been doing it for a long time, but the materials that we have, silicon carbide is able to extract the heat, and the thermal conductivity is 400 watts per meter Kelvin versus the diamond that we use is 1600 watts per meter Kelvin. So we have a materials advantage over the competition, but the competition has been doing it for longer. Does that answer your question?
Very good presentation. How difficult is it to protect this technology and people come in trying to steal it or manipulate your business?
The question is, how difficult is it to protect the technology? So the answer to that is we have, I think by now actually about 70 patents on the subject, which protects us within the United States. The hard part is as you go to other parts of the world, for example, China doesn't tend to respect intellectual property as much. And we're getting a significant number of entrants into this area that are trying to essentially copy what we do that are in China. One of the ways in which we protect it is that there's not just the named IP, but there's also the know-how into how things are done. Some of the stuff that we do is not patented, and those trade secrets are not shared. So you have to not just see what is done and what is patented, but also how it's done. And how it's done is still kept in-house. Great questions.
Okay, so my question is about the diamonds. I'm right here. Sorry.
Yes, hi.
And
Yeah.
who are you?
I'm Trisha Connors. Oh, sorry. My question is about the diamonds. Are you mining them or are these manufactured? Or it sounds very expensive.
I won't say that they're not expensive. They're cheaper than mining. We grow diamonds ourselves. So we actually take carbon and we take gas form carbon, methane, which is natural gas, the same stuff that you, or at least for now, are still cooking, using to cook in your stove. That methane or natural gas, we break down those molecules and we grow and deposit them onto a substrate, which is how this diamond is made. So we grow the diamonds on a substrate.
Okay. Okay, Armand.
Just a quick side note. Do you carry ice?
Could you say your name?
My name is Armand. I'm the AV. Do you carry ice everywhere you go?
Do I carry ice wherever I go? I usually have this in my back pocket. But other than that, it's tricky. If I think I'm going to need ice, then I try to take it myself.
All
right, let's get some more hands going.
That side of the room. So we'll go Seth, Lorna, and then Alex.
Okay. And we'll get Shannon, sure. I got a question too.
I got you, Shannon.
My question, thanks so much for coming here to speak to us today.
Thank you, Seth. It's a pleasure.
But my question centers more on how it's going to effectuate employment in Oakland and where in West Oakland exactly is the facility going to be when you do buy it?
So the question is how will this affect, how will it affect employment in West Oakland and where do we plan to be? So we're looking at different locations for West Oakland. In terms of employment, we are looking at about over the next 5-6 years, about 500 people is the goal. And that would be at a few at the PhD level and then even entry level positions. We will have to do the assembly itself has to be done. That takes training, but that training is not an extensive amount of training. So a significant number of people will be at that level. Also, at the materials level where we're trying to build the materials, there'll be a few people, and then in the fab itself, we will need people also. I visited with Laney College, and I've seen they have an excellent training program. So hopefully we will work with them to try to train people so that they can come in and work with us. At least that's our objective. We are looking at a site that is the old American Steel site. They're now rebuilding. So that's where we have looked at. We looked at it. There are a few places there trying to figure out in terms of like the size and how it might work.
Okay. Please say your name.
I'm Lorna Padilla Marcus. I just want to say, first of all, thank you for your presentation. My question is, being on the leading edge of your technology, and we hear so much today about artificial intelligence, does that impact at all the process of what you're doing and trying to accomplish?
Excellent question. The question is, how does artificial intelligence change what we do? I tend to use artificial intelligence quite a bit in terms of just as we're trying to understand and project what we're going to go do forward. However, our technology, I believe, has an impact on artificial intelligence because as you're trying to run these chips harder and harder and faster so that we can do, artificial intelligence is all about the amount of processing you can do and access to memory. Those chips get to be extremely hot. One of the ways that you can deal with that is by using diamond as a way to cool it. It's a passive way, a low energy way of cooling chips. So artificial intelligence can help us make progress in terms of what we're doing and how we're doing it, but our technology can also help artificial intelligence. Great question.
Alex, then Shannon.
Alex Paulson. Many of the stories we hear about Silicon Valley and Livermore, et cetera, there's a whole neighborhood of firms where engineers and staff people congregate and intermingle. What do you see changing in Oakland, in West Oakland, that makes an ecosystem that will help build your business?
The question is, what ecosystem do we see building coming up in West Oakland that will help our business? There are actually not a large, but there are a few space startup companies that are already in West Oakland. So we're familiar with some of those. There's also another one in Alameda. And on top of that, largely the people that work in Silicon Valley, the reason 880 is such a clogged corridor is because they're coming from lots of different places. So they're commuting from Oakland, from Livermore, from all these different places to try to get down to Silicon Valley. So there's this glut in Silicon Valley. If you put something in the place where people are in the first place or where it's closer for people to get to, then you can start trying to attract. So our idea is to attract talent in a place that's nearby. So yes, we can draw some from the talent in Silicon Valley, but we can also draw from the talent that is coming from other places. So in terms of an ecosystem, we hope to be part of a green, new ecosystem in terms of green technologies, which is the vision of Mayor Shang Tao that she would like to get within Oakland, and also space tech. And space tech is starting to establish itself in Oakland, and hopefully we'll have green and space tech all in the same space. And hopefully right here in Oakland, starting in West Oakland.
Thank you so much for coming. Really wonderful and
And your name is?
what? And welcome to Oakland.
Your name?
My name is Shannon Hackley. And it's really a pleasure to have you. Welcome to Oakland. Consider this a landing place for you. We'd love to have you come to our gala.
Yeah.
And I have a question, which I'm surprised nobody else has asked. How does this pose an opportunity for the defense world?
So first of all, long-term Oakland resident. I've been here since the late 90s. And in terms of defense, how does our technology work? How does it affect defense? The greatest application for defense is radar systems. So radar systems, they largely you have to send signals out, and the farther you can send the signals out, the better you can watch. So we've been working with a defense company that essentially would like to monitor all of the Pacific and use our technology to monitor just do radio monitoring of everything that's happening in the Pacific, and ideally in the Atlantic also. So it's not just communications, but it's also for radar systems. The advantage that we heard from one of our contractors is there are times when you take your radar system from one location and you have to put it into the theater somewhere. And in that case, they were talking about a radar system that would take 3 747s to move the entire system into the theater. And they said, potentially with your technology, we could make that 2 747s, which means that 1 747 is the radar system, and then the next 2 are cooling systems. And so if you do it right, then you can send one and only one, cut the cooling systems in half.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you very much. Has been a pleasure. Since the block of ice will not melt, I think one of the things I might be able to do is I can put it out here, and if anyone would like to try, because it's really quite a different experience to feel how the diamond sucks the heat out of your hand. So if you'd like to get the tactile sense for it, I can set it down on the table.
That'd be great.
And then people can come and just kind of see what it's like. Because
All right.
actually it's
That's
pretty
great.
neat. Thank you very much. Has been a pleasure.
So thank you again, Daniel. And it's customary for our club to make a donation in our guest speaker's name to a charity or cause. And this year, my area of focus is around supporting youth, parks, and open space. So we will be making a donation in your name to the Friends of Joaquin Miller Park, who strive to make the park more beautiful and accessible to the public while reducing the risk of fire. If you would like to ring the bell for any reason, now would be a good time. If not, that's okay. We can continue the program. Oh, Shannon rings the bell for our new member, Kathleen. Thank you. Kathleen and Shannon, if you can make your way back, and we'll introduce you, or you can introduce yourself to people as they leave. That'd be great. And Michael Bruck, what's happening next week? Are we meeting in the ballroom?
I know that everybody paid attention to President Tom when he told us what's happening next week, but just in case, no meeting here next week. Paramount Theater, 3:30, special tour. Some of us are old enough to remember when that was just a regular old movie theater. It's a wonderful, one of the few remaining examples of Art Deco design in the whole country. Don't miss it. Parking around the corner at the Telegraph Plaza lot. 5 o'clock, happy hour at Calabash. If you can't make the tour, go to Calabash. actually, it had to be 2 hours, right? 5 to 7.
2 hours. That's-
And I think we could probably use that block of ice next week at Calabash for some of the beverages. See you next week at the Paramount and Calabash.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. And thank you, everyone, for being here today. On your tables, you'll see we have a great lineup of speakers. In 2 weeks, we will be back in the ballroom for mixology with Dudley. So, but we have a great lineup of speakers for the rest of the year. And please bust your own tables, and thank you to everyone who helped make this meeting possible. And remember, Oakland Rotary is here for you. This meeting is adjourned.